Hello, this is Danny, and here we are at the beginning of a brand new year, 2018. And so I wanted to take just a little time and share with you just this and that of things I've learned here in the past couple of months. So let's head on. This will be fairly short, but there are some new things that hopefully will be a blessing for you. I was thinking today as I made this that I have been in this industry now just about 40 years, which seems like such a long time, but it's such a fascinating industry. Everything that I do is from a Christian perspective. And my desire for you is that I can really begin to stir up your hope, stir up your faith, your expectation. Let's get an action plan for 2018. Let's remember that health is a circle, spirit, soul, which includes our mind, will, and emotions, and body. We'll talk about some ways to start planning for this new year. I'll share a little bit about traveling and holidays because we certainly had a lot of that in the past 2 months. And then I want to share with you about a couple of kitchen appliances that are just so much fun to have. I will mention a couple of grocery products I've found, and we'll end up with our pearls and a summary and a call to action. So, with a new year, it's always good and always more possible to have a brand new mindset. We want an I can and I will mindset. And just remember, no matter where you are now, you and I, no matter where we are, we can make this year far better than it was last year. Everything begins with our thoughts. So let's think about it. Where are your thoughts? As we start thinking about this new year, and we're really, we're quite a ways on into this first month of the year, but we want to ask the question, if I could see down the road, 5 years down the road, what would I want my life to look like? And then maybe about 3 things of thinking of that. And from that, then you take that big picture, you start to see the end in the beginning, and you go backward and you look at, what do I want this year to look like? What do I want to accomplish? And then you narrow it down to this month, and then this week, and then today. It's a great idea to dream big, and it's a great idea, too, to have some kind of a day planner so you can get those thoughts on paper or in your computer. Now, for myself, as I think about 5 years from now, goodness, the desire of my heart is that John and I will still be strong and healthy. That's one area. Another is that every one of our children and grandchildren will also be strong and healthy and serving the Lord with all their heart. And then the third area that is really a desire of my heart, and that is that our cash flow is more than enough. So once I got this big picture, then I'm going to zero in on this coming year. And I'm going to think of 2 or 3 areas that I especially want to work on during this coming year. And then once I get those 2 or 3 areas, I will put some action steps with each one. Once I have the year in place, I'll move on to this month of January. what are 2 or 3 things I want to focus on that are taken from this 5-year range plan, and what are my action steps to put with it. And then I want to narrow it down to this week, and then narrow it down further to this day. And everything's going to relate back to that big picture. We want to see the end in the beginning. On slide 8, another thing to think about that's so important is to have this beginning of a new year to be a time of resetting. Spirit, making a new renewed commitment to draw closer to the Lord. Soul, which includes our mind, will, and emotions. Remembering that every choice, every day, every minute is ours. We have the choice. And then body, something that John and I are doing and have done for probably the past 3 or 4 years, is at the beginning of the year, along with our church, we have done a 21-day fast, and we're free to choose whatever kind of a fast we want to participate in. And we've chosen a Daniel fast, which is taken from the Bible, and it's where you just have water, vegetables, fruit, and nuts for 21 days. And it's just a great time to get things back in line, to get our discipline back in line. Another thing I want to share with you is something that's really motivated me this past year, because we knew we had this big trip coming up, and yet we also knew it was going to cost a bit more money than we had already saved for. So I opened a special bank account. Actually, we had it open. I just designated it. And every month, on the first of the month, I began to find ways from other accounts to put a little bit into that account. And it was very rewarding because we had something special we were saving for. It was a good motivation. And I want to continue that. I want to continue that special account, saving for another trip. We also have an account where we're saving for our next car so we can pay cash for it. And, I think this year I'll think about some different ways, because I have a lot of things I could sell in a garage sale, which is a little more work than I want to do. Or something like Craigslist, or I've heard of something called Facebook Marketplace. But I'll set the special bank account for both of those, the car and the trip. And then something else that I found is just a simple little budget app. And I'll have to find out the name of it. I'll be looking here on my phone for it as we talk about this. Let me get here. But I just did a search on the App Store for a simple budget, because that's just all I wanted, was something very simple. And I came up with one. It doesn't do everything I'd like for it to do, but it's real simple, and so I certainly like that part of it. Oh goodness, I would love to tell you the name of it, but I cannot seem to find it. I think it's because I put it on my iPad instead of on my phone. But you just list your monthly income, and I'm just doing it out of our household account. John and I have a household account set up, and out of that account, just the household expenses. I don't mean like bills, but I mean like clothes or home items or birthdays, different things like that. CrossFit comes out of that account. And so I have so much, and this little app is helping me to figure out ways to save a little bit more out of that account. Another thing that's really near and dear to my heart is this aspect of traveling and also holidays, because we spent a month traveling almost, and then we went through several holidays all there right at the same time. The biggest thing is to plan ahead. And so I knew we were going on this cruise, and I knew there would be some very, very delicious food tempting me. So I chose to limit the debits. Those are the foods that steal from our health. For example, on a cruise, you have real opportunities for fresh rolls, bread, at just about every meal, and I just chose to skip those on most every occasion. There were some desserts that I really, really enjoyed, and I decided I'll just eat every bite and enjoy every bite of it. And then another thing I did on the cruise, water bottles were kind of expensive, so we just took the plunge and bought what was called a water package so that we could have as many bottles of water as we wanted to drink. And that was very helpful to be able to get enough water that was definitely needed. All right, another thing that was real important, I noticed as we traveled with friends, and I noticed even before the trip, they began talking about how they always gain 10 pounds on a cruise. And I thought, no, I'm not going to say that. I do not want that for sure. And so I began to speak to myself with victory that I had the spirit of discipline and self-control. And God was very faithful. As I did my part, He did His part, and I did not come home with any extra inches or pounds. And I think another thing that made a big difference is that I had my set point firmly established. And so my body, for a long time, has weighed a certain amount, and it likes to go back and stay at that certain amount. I also was very determined to practice the habits I already had cemented, like the water and the exercise, and even a little extra exercise was very important. But I did make it a point that every single day I got in the 10,000 steps that was recorded on my Fitbit. And on many occasions I did hoedowns to get my blood sugar back down if I had a dessert. So here, even just a little more exercise can make a big difference in increasing your metabolism, waking up those wonderful feeling good neurotransmitters. And then here's the hoedowns that will just do a beautiful job of lowering the glucose level. It just is about a 3-minute exercise that you do after a meal or a carb snack, or when you need extra energy or when you need clarity of mind. Now, let me go ahead now and tell you about a couple of kitchen appliances that I got that I just really, really like. The first one is called the Instant Pot, and I've heard about this for probably 2 or 3 years and wanted one. But I also thought, well, would I really take the time to learn about it because it looks so complicated? Well, we got one as a Christmas gift. And so I began to read about it and to start using it. I really like it. It makes meal planning a lot easier because you can do it so fast. You can even put in a frozen chicken or a frozen roast. And then something else I really like is being able to make bone broth. We've done now 2 or 3 chickens and made the bone broth with the organic bones after we did the chicken and got the chicken off the bones. And so I was able to freeze the shredded chicken for recipes later on, or for just heating it up and having some really tender chicken. And then pour up the bone broth into some quart jars and use that as for soup bases. It's so delicious. Or just to sip on at lunch. It makes a delicious hot drink if you've put in some different seasonings in it. And then this Instant Pot, research says it seals in the nutrients, so it makes the foods we're eating healthier. The other thing, actually I got myself this gift from Costco, is an electric kettle. I love to drink the Shaklee Inchloss tea. I like the original flavor, but I have worn out, I think, 3 Keurig coffee pots by using that for my hot water. This just is simple. It quickly makes your hot water. It keeps it warm. Now, the kind I got at Costco is called a Hamilton Beach brand. Oh, it is so good. And I just love to drink the Shaklee Cinch. It used to be called Cinch tea. I guess now it's called the 180 tea in the original flavor. It is so very delicious. So, let's end up with a summary. We talked about making a 5-year plan, about resetting here at the first of the year. Talked about saving, having a special thing we're saving for, traveling, holidays. Talked about the Instant Pot and also the electric kettle. And it's time right now to make new plans and make some big dreams. And if you would like, I do have the planning sheets that I got from Just a Girl and her blog as she did the planning party that I had registered for and listened to. So let me end with the scripture. 2 Timothy 1:7, God has not given me a spirit of cowardice, but of love, power, and discipline, self-control. Hebrews 12:1, let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. And then Winston Churchill says, this is no time for ease and comfort. It is time to dare and endure. So God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you've gotten some good tips from this brief little lesson. And next week we're going to go a little bit more into the Instant Pot. So God bless you.